That is the last time you're going to hear any music on this show tonight. That is the last time. Why? Because I'm going to leave this line open to take questions from everyone. I'm going to leave it open for the 5%ers. I'm going to leave it open for the Pan-Africanists, the Egyptologists, the spiritualists, the Nation of God, the Nation of Islam, whoever, Nuwapians, anybody who wants to come in here, call in. The Moors, the Masons, Moorish science, anybody wants to call in here and logically, clearly, and coherently tell us in the sᴇᴛᴛ Radio and the listening audience, what is it that your doctrine or your teaching is offering the people, so-called black people, for the future? See, because that's my point with the sᴇᴛᴛ, offering solutions. I'm not a problematic person. A lot of these people who come in the name of these teachings are problematic people. What do I mean by that? I mean that these people love to talk about the problems. The problem is the white man. The problem is religion. The problem is the government. The problem is always something, miseducation. It's always a problem, never a solution. Everybody's problematic. We don't have enough money, but never a solution, never a clear and practical solution. Nor is there any real clarity on what the real problem is. I've said it, and I keep saying it. It's a mental problem with our people, which means there has to be a separation in our people in order for our people who are mentally in tune, who are raising the bar mentally, who are evolving mentally, to separate from those who are still in that sub-mental place, right? That's why I'm doing this broadcast. That's the whole point of the sᴇᴛᴛ, mental evolution, to promote the evolution of a new race of people that are coming out of the black race, right? That's all I ever promoted here. Who we refer to as the bright race, the ones who are evolving, the solar intelligent people. Now, I done had during my course of doing this radio broadcast, I started out on the Abundance Network. I done had during my course of doing the radio broadcast, teaching class, writing books, and, doing recordings and things. More books are coming. I'm a busy man. I have my own business and things like that, so I'm a busy man. During the course of teaching and getting this message out here of mentellect and future evolution of thinking, higher intelligence, advanced intelligence, beyond that which we previously had here from the last millennium and millenniums back, bringing out this new intelligence, standing on this, because the foundation of mentellect is logic and intelligence. It's not any past cultural or traditional values or ways of thinking or doing things. Logic and common sense. That's it. Not based on belief, not based on traditions, not based on customs. You won't find that in the intelligence of mentellect, because the only real thing in the world, in the state of existence, is change. And our people are not changing fast enough, the so-called black race. We're not evolving mentally. You got a lot of people who still want to hang around the old ways of thinking, and that's fine. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. Nobody's going to disturb you and your mental stagnation. Nobody's going to disturb you. If you want to be part of these old movements and old ways of thinking, that's fine. This is for the new people who are blowing the dust off their brains and who actually want to think again or start the process of thinking, right? I had people who made personal attacks on me, who continue to make personal attacks on me, yet they still listen to my radio broadcast, right? I had a legion of demons follow me. But when you have people who are mentally in tune, you're going to have a legion of demons that follow you as well, because they can't tune themselves in. They just can't move themselves away from their old ways of thinking, their past. They're stuck in it, and they want everybody stuck with them, right? They want you stuck on that level with them. I'm going to address mentellect as a future intelligence, right? And whether mentellect is rehashed, Israelitism, Christianity, and things like certain people said, Heba Truth, a.k.a. Heba Payne, the black Caucasian, who this so-called black woman set up there and, tried to tear me apart on YouTube. She made YouTube videos. And now, see, I don't usually troll the YouTube. I don't usually troll YouTube. I don't do that. She tells me I'm listening to Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine. She's a friend of sᴍᴜᴛᴛɪɪ, a.k.a. Chris L. Wilson, who had somebody make a threatening phone call to me, right, from a blocked number today, right? Asked me, do I got beef with Chris? Now, I don't know if his voice was disguised or it was actually somebody, but who does that? Who does that? You claim that you moved on, yet you calling my number from a private or blocked number or putting somebody up to do that. First of all, if you put somebody up to do that, what kind of real man does that? What kind of man gets another man to make threats for him? Unless you were female. Women do things like that. Women who feel hurt. Women who feel discarded and rejected. Right? That's what women do. Real men make threats themselves. They don't hide behind private and blocked numbers. Right? Whatever problem I had with you, I don't have a problem with you. But you seem to keep making the problem. You calling my house. You making it personal. Whatever problem I had with you, like I said, let me set the record straight on that. Or you was never a member of the State of Mentel, nor did you ever follow me. All you ever did and all I ever utilized you for is to post music up on my radio show. That's it. So this nonsense this chick ⴍᴜᴅ is talking about how I'm hurt by the loss of you, you was never really here. All you did was post up music. That's the only time I talked to you to get you to put music up. That's it. But you were inspired by my shows, by my broadcasts, that you claim I'm copying from Timothy Leary, Dr. York, I'm copying from this one, I'm copying from that one. Now, riddle me this. You're so intelligent, right, Chris Wilson? You're so intelligent, sᴍᴜᴛᴛ, Babe Ruth, Truth, whatever you calling yourself, whatever monikers you going under. You so intelligent, yet you went and used your YouTube account to post up my radio shows, the audios to my radio shows, which you went and put video clips to. Now, that it was about at least 15 to 20 shows you had up there. 15 to 20 of my shows, if not more. At least 15 to 20 shows you had up there on YouTube. Now, if I was copying, if I was taking from other people, if I was stealing and listening to this one and that one, Bobby Hemmett, or the Hodge or Bodge twins, who I don't even know who the hell these people are. I heard of Bobby Hemmett. I heard of Phil Valentine, but I don't listen to these people. I'm not interested. No offense to those people, but I'm not interested in listening to other people, right? If you found that in my recordings or the radio broadcast I did, how come you was posting this all up if I'm such a fraud and an imposter? For about 2 to 3 months, maybe even more, you've been posting up my videos. You got people listening to my radio broadcast. That sounds like somebody who was a follower, somebody who was a fan. You know, I mean, if you heard all these people before me and you told me you heard Bobby Hemmett, you heard Phil Valentine, you heard all these Hodge guys or whatever you talking about, all these people, you heard the Israelites, why? And if I'm rehashing it, why was you posting this up and telling people to listen to my radio broadcast? Why was you up here telling me, brother, you the next Elijah Muhammad and whatnot, you the one that's going to bring the new book? Remember all that inboxing used to do me, Shabazz? Right? Then, when all of a sudden you stop posting it, you stop posting videos, I called you to find out, you stopped posting music up, I called you to find out why'd you do that. And you told me because I put our conversation about your dreams and things on the radio. I spoke about it. And I told you, I didn't mention your name. I said, you're not the only one who asked me to interpret dreams. I said, I don't do that. I made reference to our conversation, but I didn't even mention your name. It wasn't a personal attack on you. That's for everybody. You're not the only one who asked me to do that. And I said, I don't do that. I explained that to you. But you took it personal. You thought it was a shot at you. Your feelings got hurt. So here go the attacks. And you got your legion of demons, the submentals, ⴍᴜᴅ, pain, and all these other demons who she sits up here. Right, I'll get to her in a second. You sit up here and you making personal attacks on me, and you don't even know me. How do you make personal attacks on people when you don't personally know these people? You don't know me. I never met you. All you ever did was post up. You just a fan that posted up music on my broadcast. That's all you did. That's it. That's all you were utilized for. Other than that, I didn't even talk to you. I didn't even want to talk to you beyond that. You lost. I used to call you my son, and you like being my son. You like sitting up under me and listening to me. right? You like doing all that. Now all of a sudden, you got a problem with me. You understand? You got a problem with me because I'm not sitting up here catering to your little fantasies or whatever, your little dreams. I don't listen to men's dreams. Then you sit up here and tell a lie that, oh, it was about some legal issue. You lied 3 times. First it was a legal issue. Then all of a sudden it's about some dealings I had with some woman who I had set some kind of sexual encounter with. You go to make that up. Who you talking about? Who you really talking about is Linda Jarman, the nutcase on Facebook, the Facebook hustler Linda Jarman, nutcase, who sits around here begging people for money, who would come into the radio groups and ask people for money for sᴛRŞɪʲ Radio, and she bummed her way up here. Didn't take any money from her because she didn't have any money. What I did do is feed her, bought her something to eat, sent her on her way. She was staying with somebody else. But that's my private business. You went and you talking about I don't treat women right. What kind of man is concerned about how another man treats women? Unless he's a homosexual, you got some kind of feminine tendencies. Why do you care about how I treat women? What's wrong with you, boy? Have you lost your mind? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to create a page on Facebook for people like you. People like you who make videos and talking about me, because like I said, I wasn't talking about you. I've been moved, I've been done. For you to call my number or put somebody up to call my personal number, because the only reason you had my number was because I would call you to put, again, music on the show. That's it. I don't need nothing from you. I've been teaching, doing classes, doing everything. Don't need you. You served your purpose. Get somebody else to put music on. I'll do it myself. For you to get somebody to call me up and make threats, like I said, what was you guys doing? Well, if it was somebody you got to do it, what was you guys doing? Sitting around your house, you was sitting on his lap, on the computer, telling me I'm gonna get it, Newbin. Is that what you was doing? Is that what you were doing? You know, you couldn't make the threat yourself from an unblocked number. What's wrong with you? Heather Truth sits around here talks about how brilliant you are, right? And I'm giving you publicity right now. Even doing this, I'm gonna just sum this up. You know, Heather Truth, another demon who sits up here and listens to me, a.k.a. the Black Caucasian. You go on her Facebook page, Heather Payne. She got a picture of a bunch of white boys on there. I guess that's who she really looks up to when she talks like them. She claims that I'm teaching remixed stuff and that Chris is just so brilliant. Chris Wilson. This is the same Chris that calls in here, sᴍᴜᴛᴛ, the hurt one. He calls in here, and I give him a chance to come in here and ask me questions about mental, right? I give him a chance. I open up the room like I'm doing now. I'll give people a chance to ask me questions about what I'm teaching, and I'm proving that it's not religion, that it's not coming from anything else. I've been doing this. He never says anything. The only thing he says to me is, "Oh, is you got running water in your house? Well, you better go catch it." That's the brilliance of sᴍᴜᴛᴛ, aka Chris Wilson, the hurt one. That's his brilliance. This chick then makes a video, Heather Truth. She talks about how I'm feeding on the energy of young people. You don't have to listen to my show, Heather Truth. Why are you listening? You feeding on my energy. You making videos on YouTube about me. You and sᴍᴜᴛ and the other legion of demons, you making videos on YouTube about me. I'm not talking about you. Not talking about you. Not talking to you. And here you go. You in the chat room. There you go. Why are you listening to my show? Look at you. There go the Heather Payne, the demon. There you go. You right in the chat room. Because you know what I'm saying is the truth. You made a video before you started slandering me, talking about how great I was and what I was teaching. Now all of a sudden I'm teaching rehash stuff because I hurt your little boyfriend's feelings, Chris. Now all of a sudden I'm teaching rehash stuff. Before you was acting like your mom was blown away. You just a Facebook demon, all right? You a flunky and a Facebook demon, and you and Chris need to stop playing with the goddamn tarot cards, all right? Stop playing with the tarot cards. You a Black Caucasian. Cut it out. You know, the people, and let me tell you something, the people that are sitting here listening to your videos, the people that will really sit in and listen to your videos, we wouldn't want them listening to this show anyway. We don't want them. I don't want those kind of people. We don't want you in the state of mentality. We don't want you. You're just sitting around here. She makes a video talking about Amen, saying Amen is a spook god. Show you how ignorant she is. She makes a video talking about Amen is a spook god, right? She said Amen is a spook god. Then she talks about, then in the same video, she talks about Amen is just like me and you. He's just a regular person. He's nothing above us. Now, which one is he? Is Amen a spook god, meaning a fake god, or is he a real person like me and you? She says this in the same video. That's how ignorant she is. You know what I'm going to do for you and Chris Heber and all of y'all? And she in my chat room right now listening to my show. I don't listen to nothing you talk about. You know what they do? They'll listen to my broadcast, take bits and pieces of what they want, like the demons that they are, and then incorporate it into their little triad and their little nonsense. Say, oh, come listen to my tape. Come listen to what I'm putting out in the new music and stuff like that when we getting at people. You know what I'm going to do for y'all? I'm going to create a page on Facebook, and I'm going to talk about, it's going to be called Strictly for Laughs, right? And I'm going to put y'all videos in there because y'all are funny. You too funny. You can't address mentellect. You can't address the state of mental. You can't address the knowledge of mentellect. I gave you chances to come on here, and you still got a chance. If you come on here clearly, coherently, not calling names, and let's go straight up on logic, you can't do it. You can't do it. Heaven truth, you was listening to a bunch of Israelites before that. And then you come to me and tell me, oh, it's the same thing. Then what was you listening for? Why are you still listening? Because you taking bits and pieces just like him, and that's what you do. He accused me of listening to Timothy Leary. This is the funniest part. I'm going to get to you in the call. The call is in a second. 248. All you guys stay on the air. I'm going to get to you in a second. Well, I warn you, do not call in here with anything dumb because you're going to get hung up on. But I just wanted to set the record straight on all the YouTube demons that saying stuff about me. You never met me personally. You don't know me, all right? You sit up here and say that I'm trying to start a religion, and I read Timothy Leary books. Now, the idiot Shabazz keeps saying this over and over again, right? He says this over and over again when clearly I broke down how this is not a state of mental, not a religion. This is an intelligence order. There's a difference. Religions take anybody. I'm going to say it again. Timothy Leary, I never read the man's book. I heard of him before, but I never read his books. Religion takes anybody. That's why you see black Mormons, you see black Jehovah's Witnesses, where prior to that, they didn't take black people in these organizations. But they found out. You see black Scientologists, prior to that, they didn't take blacks in those organizations. Now they take them in because that's where you make your money, because you make the teaching appealing to everybody. That's how you make a religion. We in the state of mental don't take everybody. We don't take whites. We don't take Asians. We don't take black people, most black people. We are exclusive. How do you build a religion and make money when you're exclusive? You understand? You have to be inclusive. See, obviously you don't know the difference. When you are forming an order, you are exclusive. When you are forming a religion, you are inclusive. Now, Shabazz, me and you had a conversation before all of this, and you told me, well, that's wrong how you calling the Caucasians and the East Indians and them, you calling them beast and human beast and stuff like that. You should be teaching something that's going to embrace everybody. That's what you said to me. So it sounds like you want to take what I'm teaching and turn it into a religion and embrace everybody. That's your mindset, not mine. We don't want people like you in the state of mental. And the people that would sit up here and seriously take you people seriously, we don't want in the state of mental, because you would have to be off by your IQ. Your IQ would have to be low to sit up here and listen to some nonsense y'all talking. Y'all want to be important. You want to shine. You want to be stars. You want to be seen. And you're not talking about nothing. You're not advocating nothing for the people. All you're doing is sitting up here crapping on me. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. You're just sitting up here taking a crap on me. That's all you're doing. What are you advocating for the people? Since you're saying that I'm teaching the people wrong, that I'm teaching lies, and I'm doing all of this, you saying I'm doing, what are you advocating? What are you teaching? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it, because you could talk about my personal life all day. You don't know me personally, but you could talk about it all day. You can make up stuff, because that's all you've been doing. You sitting around here worrying about, Chris, we worrying about what I'm doing with women only, and you talking about some woman told you I did this. Well, what kind of woman would feel comfortable talking to you, another man, about what happened personally between them, unless she feel like you got feminine attributes, unless she feel like you growing a vagina. Maybe y'all need to do the vagina monologues together, because no real woman, no real man is going to sit up and listen to a woman talk about what sexually happened between her and another man. She disrespected you, and you too stupid to see that. We setting the record straight tonight, because after this, I'm not calling. Like I said, I'm not talking about you though. Don't call my number no more. If you got a problem with me, like I said, don't hide behind private numbers. Don't get your boyfriend or whoever to call me up, or whoever, if you muffling your voice, to do that, because I kept it online. I kept it online. You're not a threat to me. You're not even an afterthought. I'm still doing what I'm doing. We still making money. We still doing what we doing. We still teaching. I don't need nobody's money from here. I'm paying for this show right now that y'all sitting y'all asses up listening to. To talk crap about me that you could take little bits and pieces. I'm paying for this show. Nobody else pays for it. I take care of my own bills. So if we're going to set the record straight, let's really set the record straight. Right? Y'all want to be seen. You want to become people of interest. Nobody cares what you talking about. Y'all just, without sᴇᴛᴛ_NIIL, you just some Negroes sitting on the radio trying to be popular, trying to get people to listen to your music or give a damn about what you talking about. And you're not talking about nothing. I stand on mental as future intelligence, as advanced intelligence. I stand on that. I stand on that we not sitting up here regurgitating nothing. I stand on that. And I opened up everything for this. I sacrificed for this. I don't need people like you. And like I said, Chris, you put my stuff on YouTube your damn self. I didn't ask you to put nothing up on YouTube. I don't even have a YouTube account. And then in the video, you accusing me of commenting on some half twins, hedge twins, or whatever twin, and I'm making comments. I'm the only one. I don't type. I type in cap. That's not me. I don't sit around trolling for YouTube videos. That's not me. You telling lies. I don't listen to these people. I don't listen to Bobby Hemmett. I don't listen to none of these people. I don't read Phil Valentine's books of Bobby Hemmett or Timothy Leary. You do. You got your head lodged up their anus, not me. You understand? But yet you're supposed to be so brilliant. Yet I'm holding you back from teaching the truth. Teach what you got to teach. Leave me out of it. I could go on about mental. I can keep going. I don't need to talk to you about say nothing to you. Like I said, you serve no purpose. You don't even serve no purpose in your own life. I gave your life purpose. That's why you making videos. You ain't, other than that, you ain't talking about nothing. Sitting around smoked out on weed, trying to make some ignorant hip hop that don't nobody want to hear. That you trying to pass off as righteous or intelligent. Go sit down somewhere. That go for you too, Rᴇᴜ. Go. When you sitting around talking about you God, ask the white man that you go to work for, your white boss, what time he tell you to get your ass to work and get off at 9 to 5. Tell him you God. Then. When you sitting at your desk or doing what you doing for the white man, don't try. You don't know me. Don't do that. Like I said, I will come for you. I will put y'all out there. I'm gonna put y'all. Like I said, y'all funny to me. I'm not mad at you. It's funny to me. Like I said, I'm gonna put y'all in the sᴇᴛᴛ strictly for laugh section. Don't get me to start talking. Like I said. Because the more and more Chris Wilson, Shabazz Scientific, the more and more you run your mouth, the more and more it seems like you're growing a vagina. I'm going to be honest with you. The more and more you run your mouth about my personal life and what I'm doing with women and me not treating women right, and you talking back and forth with this ignorant black Caucasian Rᴇᴜ and the rest of the legion of demons you hang with, like I said, more and more it seems like you're growing a vagina. Somebody need to get you a tampon, seriously. And that's it for you. That's it. I'm done with you. I'm putting your videos in the sᴇᴛᴛ strictly for laugh section because y'all funny. Now, I'm going to take some calls. Only intelligent calls come in here. 248, you're on the air. 248, you're on the air. 248, you're on the air. Nothing from 248. Okay. 111. 111. You're on the air. 111.
Yeah, hi. My name's Jay. I'm calling from London. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. Yeah, just calling in. I mean, basically, I've been wanting to call in to your show for a while because I've got quite a lot of questions. I'm going to try and not take up too much time. But I've got to admit, I've got some issues with some of the things you do talk about. So hopefully, like I said, I'm going to try and be quick. I mean, first of all, I know you mentioned in your doctrine, you say that so-called Africans, for example, are not part of the Aryan race. They were created on this planet. Is that correct?
Yes, I said our people are amongst the Africans, and I said, yeah, the Africans were created on this planet. A lot of the so-called Africans, like I said, they're not the same. All you got to do is look at them the facial features. You could look at their hair type. You could look at the skin texture and tell that they're not the same as the people who were in the East who called themselves Nubians. They're not the same people.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I have a bit of an issue, because I do remember you specifically saying that you can look at our people, you can look at our hair, the fact that our hair grows up, and you can tell that we're not from this planet because our hair grows up. Anything that's created on this planet is subject to the gravitational pull that's actually on this planet. Hence the reason why you got every other race which has their hair growing down, which is essentially fur. So I would then go to say, well, if that's the case, if you do have Africans who are actually created on this planet and who still have their hair growing up, or so-called nappy hair, then isn't the implication that all black people with their hair growing up could potentially have been made on this planet?
Well, first of all, when you talk about African, again, the ones, you got a lot of Africans who don't grow hair. A lot of them have the thick, coarse, coiled tight hair that doesn't grow out and beyond that. Those are Africans I'm talking about, the ones who were born here on this planet, the ones whose hair is growing up. Because you got certain black people who are living amongst the Africans who are calling themselves Africans but not actually native to that land. They came over there into that land and was amongst the Africans.
Okay, are we talking about your average African man and woman? Because the thing is, I know intellect is based on common sense and logic. And when I look at people in Africa and I look at people in America, black people specifically, and when I look at black people in the Caribbean and I look at black people in Australia, maybe apart from your aboriginals who do have curly, straight hair, and even black people over here in Europe, just by looking at us, you can see that we have very similar phenotype and genotypical features. So it's interesting to me when you say that the so-called Africans were created on this planet, but yet their hair texture, I mean, you're talking about certain differences. To me, we look almost identical. So if you're saying that they were created on this planet, but yet and still they have hair growing up as opposed to growing down, then I would say that the implication of that teaching is saying that the potential is that all black people on this planet with their hair growing up could potentially have been created on this planet too. If you're saying that about Africans, no, and that's the issue. Let me stop for a second.
You got the people that you're talking about. Like I said, you're talking about your tribe, because you got two types of. You got your black people, or so-called black people, who can grow naturals and fros and things like that, who are living amongst that. I'm gonna give you a good example. Kofi Annan. You know who that is, right?
Sorry, say that. I didn't hear that.
Kofi Annan. You know who Kofi Annan is? The guy who was the head of the UN at one time. He calls himself an African, right? Right? He was from, I forget what part of Africa.
He's gone. Yeah.
He's not African. He's not African. You could tell. Look at his. No, he's not. That's like saying, okay, but that's like saying, where you're at, and like somebody could say you, like for example, you could say you English, right? But you're not. But then you'll be like, my bloodline is from Africa.
No, my descendants are actually from Nigeria, a village in Nigeria. I'm actually born here in England. But if you look at me, for example, I was over in the States last year. People thought I was from the States until they actually heard me talk. The point I'm trying to make is that
they thought you were from America.
They thought I was actually. They thought I was from America when I met people over there until they heard me speak. It was when they heard me speak, they knew, all right, this guy's from England, and then they wanted to know more about me. And the reason being is obviously.
I'm sorry, do you grow an afro?
Yeah, I do.
You're not African. You're not African.
No, most black people in Africa grow an afro. Like, I've been to Nigeria on 4 different occasions. The majority of black people find there grow an afro. So, like I said, based on what you teach, which is common sense and logic, like I said, you can look at us and see that the majority of black people on this planet have the same origins. So when you say that the African is different or was created on this planet, despite the fact that they have very similar phenotypes and genotypes to black people all across the planet. It can be very divisive, and it sounds like a remix of the old teachings of the Nation of Islam, which says that Africans were living a jungle life. You see what I'm saying? And that's the issue. I have.
Got to finish up. Got what you said. I'm gonna answer. But got to finish.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I've got some other issues. It also I know you've done 2 broadcasts on facial hair and on the growing of hair, etc. And I know.
Well, let me finish answering. Let me finish answering this question.
Oh yeah.
First, and then we'll go to the facial. Now, cool. I said previously that a lot of our people, who we refer to as sometimes Nubian, are the ones who came from the east, the ones who were moving all over South America, Egypt, and places like that, and were building the pyramids and the ancient governments in those societies and whatnot. Those are people refer to them as the Nubians, or the people in the east. Like I said, they were different. They went in to Africa. A lot of them, after the Romans and the Greeks and them, ran these people into Africa, and a lot of our people mixed with the primitive Africans who were there. So if you see a lot of our people there amongst the Africans, that doesn't mean that they are actually native to that land, or that they belong there, or that they are of those people. You could look at an African, right, and you could look at – hold on, let me finish. A lot of our people went in amongst the Africans, and we lived amongst the Africans and whatnot, but we're not part of those people. Now, I do agree with the Israelites on it. They said the same thing, and the Nation of Islam, but I agree. I'm not copying what they're saying. I agree with what they're saying, because you can look at the Africans, you can look at their bone structure, their skin texture, you look at their hair texture, you look at how they move and how they are in tune with those tribal customs and things like that, and our people are not the same as that. Now, a lot of people will say that that's due to the fact that we mixed in with the European and everybody else, white man, Asian. That's why we don't look the same, and those are the real, quote-unquote, pure Africans. People that have said that argument. But if you look over in ancient Egypt, Sumeria, things like Nubia, you can see the difference in the people. You'll see our people on the walls with afros and braids and things like that, and you'll see the Africans in chains or in bondage to those Nubian people, or those people who were in the east at that time. These people, it's just like when the Africans come to America, for example, and they come into a so-called black neighborhood. The Africans tend to stay amongst themselves. They don't come amongst so-called, quote-unquote, African Americans and consider you to be their people. They stay amongst other so-called, quote-unquote, Africans.
But a lot of the time that is due to psychological warfare. You've got to understand that they've also been exposed to the same type of self-hatred that the majority of black people around the world, from Europe to America, have been exposed to. So
but what I'm saying is you can't say that, because they tend to form a community amongst themselves. So there's not that much racial hatred going on if you are in tune with the fact, like, for example, tribalism. Yeah, they are
more connected to their own history and heritage. So obviously that helps them move together more as a collective. But so they've not been exposed to as much destruction, for example, as the so-called African American or so-called descendant of slaves. So of course that's going to allow them to form a lot more cohesion amongst their own people, because it allows them to still kind of build for themselves in a way. They've still got a bit of connection to their old history and their ancestors, etc. But I don't think that's purely down to the fact that these individuals are just completely separate and different to black people who exist across the world or across the globe. They're still exposed to the same colonialism, oppression, and subjugation that most black people everywhere you find in the world are exposed to.
But here's the thing. You're saying that, but again, when they come around, because like I said, I'm in New York City, and I know a lot of Africans tend to go to the Bronx. A lot of them tend to be in sections where they stay amongst each other. Now, if they had this self-hate thing going on, they wouldn't even associate with one another. So they have a link or a tie to their own cultural traditions and customs. So obviously, like I said, it's not totally a thing where it's a self-hate thing. They choose.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying that they obviously been exposed to certain information about so-called African Americans, which makes them have kind of like a negative attitude towards your so-called African Americans based upon what they've been educated about your history and what you guys are actually doing over there in the States. So that's what makes them separate themselves from you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not entirely based on them just being a different people. They have also been exposed to the same media, the indoctrination, the psychological warfare, which makes them believe that you are somehow inferior. So it's not entirely down to some type of genetic disassociation from people who are actually over there in the States, or black people who are over there in the States or in the Caribbean. It's a lot of it is down to indoctrination and what they have actually been educated on about so-called black people in America and in the Caribbean islands.
Well, so, even like I said, psychologically, if you're saying that this is a mental issue where the reason why they come and they form their own community, they stay separate, is because of what they've been taught psychologically. Like I said, there are people who will go over to Africa, so-called African Americans or whoever will go over there, and there's still a distance between the people. Like I said, and custom, how we talk, how we think, all of this, these are things, like I said.
Again, when we are talking about common sense and logic, like I said, the European hasn't got a different jail for so-called Africans in Nigeria or Africans in Ghana or Africans in America or so-called Africans in America or so-called Africans in the Caribbean. He sees the same person. No,
actually, he doesn't. I'm going to prove to you he doesn't. Actually, he doesn't, because the so-called African, like I said, today they tend to look at the Africans here in this society with more of a respect than they do the so-called black Americans here, and I'll prove it to you. You have Africans who can go and set up tables to peddle and sell goods on the street here in New York, right? And they leave them alone. They don't have any licenses. They don't take their stuff from there. They'll set up all in the city. But a so-called black American, a regular black person born here, they'll take the stuff. They'll say he don't have a license, things like that. So you, and not to mention the fact.
Does
not
to
mention
the fact.
Hold on. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. Wait a minute. Not to mention the fact. Not to mention the fact that the so-called African American president that you have here now, notice he's of African descent and white descent, but he's African. Now, why wasn't a man selected who came from here, right, to be president of the United States? Why did they go and get somebody, some African, a person who had African roots? Because I've seen Barack Obama's father. He's a true, what you would call an African, phenotype type African. Now, he might have some mixture in his genetic from the Nubian connection, which is why he grows hair, but a true African does not look or does not have or grow hair like that. If you're growing hair like that, if your hair is growing up in the air and things like that, 9 times out of 10, you are mixed in with those Nubian people and those ancient Africans, the ones who were born here or who come from that landmass. They're not connected to anything beyond that. They'll sit here and they'll tell you, they'll sit here and they'll tell you that they're connected to the tribal customs and teaching. That's it.
So which Africans do you know that don't grow an afro?
You got what about the ones who have the BB buckshots on their head, the real tight coils that don't grow past that? That's your African.
Yeah, where are they located? Because
they're located all over Africa. They scattered. You know who I'm talking about? They scattered all over Africa. You haven't seen them. You haven't seen those ones. You haven't seen the real. You haven't seen. Okay, they amongst the Nigerians. I'll give you a good example. Of one, Idi Amin. Right now, you look at Idi Amin. Right, and you could tell. Hold on. You can look at Idi Amin, and you could tell though he has some mixture of the Nubian bloodline in him. He's a pure African still. A lot of our people have been mixed in with the African bloodline. That's like saying. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. That's like saying that the so-called East Indian, because they got dark brown skin like us, that they the same as us too. Do you think that's true?
No, but Idi Amin, first of all, ran the Indians out of Uganda and was totally against European imperialism.
Okay, but I just asked you a question. Is the so-called, because you're connecting everybody, you're connecting everybody with brown or dark skin and whatnot as the same. Are the East Indians the same as us?
Who?
The East Indians.
Oh no, clearly not. They don't grow an afro. I mean, the Indians are
but
not.
A lot of your
Africans, they're not the same as us at all.
Okay, but a lot of your Africans don't either. Yeah, Africans, they grow like the little
They do.
coil. Hold on, let me say, they grow the little coils on their head. Like I said, don't grow beyond that. They have very dark to dry skin. A lot of them are.
Oh, I see.
Really
Are you
burnt.
talking about the
I'm just hold on, wait a minute. I'm describing. Hold on. A lot of them
Okay.
are. They have a blue-black complexion to them, which the reason why they have a blue-black complexion is because they're sunburned. A lot of them are burned like the same way the white man burns red from the sun. A lot of your so-called Africans or your Africans who were born to your ancient Africans, they burn blue and black from the sun. That's sun damage on their skin because I said this. Hold on, let me finish.
Oh, yeah.
Let me finish.
Sorry,
because
yeah.
there's no such thing as a black man. When you see a so-called dark, black, blue-black African, a lot of them are sunburned. A lot of them are sunburned because solar sunlight doesn't penetrate their skin. That's why they have that ashy, dry texture to their skin, and those thick what we call peas in their hair that don't grow past a certain point. They have to keep their hair cut low all the time.
Okay, that's interesting because you say that the blue-black African apparently that they attain that type of skin texture through being sunburnt. And I saw the picture you put up of Armin, I believe, on one of your broadcasts, and he looked blue-black to me. He looked very black. The picture you put up of Armin. So is that a result of sunburnt skin or
no? That's not. When the picture, first of all, the picture that I put up of Armin, I said that all of our people. When a lot of times you're looking at what appears to be black skin, is dark brown. All right. When you see the darkest so-called Nubian person, that's not black people. That's dark brown. Then you have those people, because I said there's no such thing as a black person. Now the blue, that was a color that they attributed to Amen because blue meant celestial, or one who was coming from beyond the planet. That's why they had the blue as a royal color, and why in English white people call themselves blue bloods, because they're associated with that blue color that the Egyptians connected to Amen. So no, it's not a blue-black person.
So would it be fair to say on the face of it, from looking at it from the perspective of just the two eyes, looking at it from the perspective of just reality, looking at the individual, looking at the picture, is it fair to say that one can describe Amen as being blue-black just from looking at? Okay, you say that it's not an actual color, but just from me looking at the picture. In the face of things, it just from what I could see, he looked blue-black to me. So is it fair to describe someone as black, even if they're not actually really so-called black?
I see the darkest so-called black man, aka black man, was really dark brown. There's no such thing as a black man. That is a skin deficiency. Okay, but I'm gonna answer you about the almond. I'll answer you about almond. Now they have almond as a reddish brown complexion. I put that up. Right, which is more like along the lines of how the so-called Nubians look, from dark brown to reddish brown to beige complexion. Then you have the depiction of almond in blue, and you have the depiction of almond in dark brown. Because, like I said, those people, they never put up, or if you look at the pictures of almond, they always showed him as reddish brown, dark brown, or blue. That's not black.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, on the face of it, it can look as though it is black.
A lot of things look like things.
You could describe him as being black, even though that may not be a true representation of his actual color. Because even if you look at a lot of the ancient monuments, a lot of them look very, very dark skinned. I mean, very dark, blue black, green black.
Not like I said.
Where I'm going. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So I understand where you're coming from in terms of, because I know you don't deal with the word black for whatever reason. That's up to you. That's fine. As far as I'm concerned, when I look at the picture, he looked blue black to me. I understand where you're going. For me personally, I think that's just an issue of semantics, but the word black, as far as I'm concerned, is just a word I use to describe a particular type of people. And especially when you can use that word for the purposes of unifying a huge number of people who are dealt with in the same way by the so-called enemy races, I don't think there's an issue with that.
The whole idea of the first thing, the whole idea of the word black came from the white man. He called us black. We didn't call ourselves that. We never called ourselves black people.
The word black was used to describe a particular type of people. Now, the negative associations that have been made with the word black were created by the European. There's no doubt about it. How they've been called is how to define words.
But what I'm saying is that there is no such thing as a black people. All right, that word was to denote. They called our people black, like I say all the time. When they refer to our people as black, that was their way of referring to us as ignorant. Because black is what they refer to black. They refer to black as that which is absent of light.
So, right? I get what you're saying, but that's their negative association that they've made with the term black. As white people, we can use whatever they've given us for our own benefit. We can't use anything. We can't use anything that they gave us for our own benefit, especially when it comes to that. Because, like I said, they've been calling us blacks as far as Negro. Economic system?
Yeah, I'm saying, but that, like I said, that is not describing my identity. That doesn't, like I said, I could be somewhere utilizing any economic system. It doesn't really matter. But when you talk about describing people or identifying people, that has a heavy burden on you, because then that locks you into a certain mind frame. By calling you a black person, you're always going to be thought of, or you're going to think of yourself as that which is opposite of white, or you're going to be constantly locked in a racial struggle or battle with these people. And the fact that we allow these people to define us, our identity, right, because we're the only ones that do this. We allow people to define our identity by calling us a color or a shade or complexion, yet people have, these people have names. They have Irish, Italian, English, whatever. They're coming up with names that they identify themselves by, but we trying to sit up here and make ourselves proud of wear that badge of they call us black, so let's just take it and make it something that works for us. No, we ain't, not us here in the state of Mentel. We're not doing that. We don't want their name. We don't want that identity. That don't serve no purpose to us.
I don't think it has nothing. It's all about the ends. As far as I'm concerned, the ends justify the means. Whatever you can use for your own benefit to achieve your goals and objectives, whether that means using the term black and creating your own associations with the term in order to help you get closer to your goals and objectives, that's all that should matter. The word, getting so caught up in the word, for me personally, I think that's it's kind of irrelevant as it relates to
that's how you see it. We're not allowing people to define us no more. Us in the state of Mentel. If you as a black man, a so-called black man, want to keep that, that's fine. Hold on, let me say it. I'm not arguing with you if you want to keep that as a so-called black man and you want to take that and wear it like a badge of honor. That's fine. I'm saying
it's not wearing it as a badge of honor. It's just utilizing it for our own benefit.
There's no benefit. We don't see the benefit. We in the state of Mentel, we don't see the benefit in calling ourselves black people no more. We moved on.
Yeah, that's
fine. We moving on. Just like the Italians and the Irish and all these people came and picked their own names and picked their own identities. We're not sitting around here trying to take nobody's names or identities or what they think of us and move forward with that. We come in with our own name, our own identity, our own language, and we moving on with that. So that's it.
I mean, that's fine. That's not an issue. I just think again, when I've got to speak especially about this whole stuff about hair again, the beard and growing lots of hair. To me, these things are insignificant as it relates to moving forward, and especially when you talk about the hair, it's quite interesting because even your own scientific studies tell you that DNA is actually grows in our hair, and that our hair can act as antennas to receive higher forms of knowledge and intelligence.
Okay.
So, considering that you're an intelligence movement, I'm a bit surprised by the fact that you guys promote actually cutting the hair. I mean, basically, again, that sounds like to me like a bit of a remix of the nation, because you can go to any Nation of Islam organization, they telling you got to cut your hair, wear a bow tie, suit, look clean cut, start a business. I mean, that sounds to me again like a remix.
I'm gonna explain
like something new because especially considering the scientific evidence that's coming out to support the fact that hair can actually result in one receiving higher forms of intelligence.
Okay.
So Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me address that.
And
let me address that.
Go ahead.
First of all,
yeah.
all these so-called black people who got dreads all down their back, got hair all over their head, beards all over their face, what are they doing in the world? Since they got all this, they got. Hold on, let me ask. Let me hold on. These people you say, the hair being all out and all over the place, that's going to denote mental power coming in and things like that. And their antennas. What? Oh, you got a bunch of dreads and people with afros and beards all over their face. What are they doing?
Dr. York had a beard. I mean, he did a hell of a lot for the black community.
Okay,
so clearly,
okay. I mean, wait a minute.
To me, the hair is insignificant as it relates to what achieving goals and objectives. However, there's scientific evidence supporting the fact that the hair can actually result in one being able to receive higher forms of intelligence. There's scientific evidence out there.
Hold on, let me stop for a second. 1 minute you said the hair is insignificant. Now you're saying that it's significant because it can attain higher.
It's significant as it relates to actually going on about, because I know you did 2 whole broadcasts on this. So I think it's irrelevant as it relates to, the grander scheme of things, whether someone has hair or doesn't. At the end of the day, you can tell if someone's efficient or not, whether or not they're producing the results. But I'm saying that there is scientific evidence out there, just in addition to me actually making that point, there is scientific evidence out there which actually suggests that hair can allow individuals to receive high forms of intelligence. I mean, you can do your own research. You don't have to.
Okay, but then I'll ask you again. What are all these people? Because you named Dr. York. Okay, now hold on. You named Dr. York. That's one. Hold on, one minute. Yeah. You named Dr. York. One person. I like to know because you got a whole bunch of black men out here, and that's the movement now. Black men got beards all over their. Hold on. They got beards all over their face. They got dreads. They're doing all that long hair and beards and things like that. What are they doing for our people?
Okay, you want me to give you some more examples? I know you speak about
they receiving all this higher intelligence. What are they doing for our people? Because hold on.
We know.
Because let me just say this. Because the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and like I said, I look up to him as a mentor, and Dr. York as mentors and whatnot. And I said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did more for black people than anybody, as far as raising the intelligence of the black people and cleaning up black people. He did more for black people than anybody, and he ain't had no hair on his face. He ain't had no whole lot of hair. He had a bald head and no hair on his face, and he cleaned up all these black people and changed their lives forever. He made more of an impact. Dr. York, like I said, he did great things as far as putting out information, but he can't touch Elijah Muhammad, and he'll be the first one to say as far as cleaning up the people and moving them forward. Because he was even influenced by that man.
But that doesn't negate the great works of Dr. York, even if they don't believe they were as great as Elijah Muhammad. Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm saying Dr. York did great things and whatnot, but that wasn't attributed to how long his hair was and how long his beard was and things like that. We said this and this thing. I didn't tell people to cut off all of their hair and walk around like this. I have a short natural. I don't wear hair on my face, and I tell the people in the state of Mentel not to wear hair on our face because one of the reasons being that we want a uniform look, right? This is, for our people to sit up here and be playing in their hair or having somebody braid their hair or twist their hair or growing our hair down our back, growing dead hair down our backs, right? Because this is mainly grooming that we're talking about, grooming. We clean the hair off our face so we – hold on, let me finish. We clean the hair off our face so we look uniform. We don't want people coming in, one brother got a mustache over here, another brother got a beard over here, because you know how the black man get. Like I said, a lot of times our people not going to sit up here and go to barber shops every day and groom themselves. And when we go out and we representing ourselves and whatnot, we want to be looking uniform. We want to look clean. So there's really no need for hair on our face. And going back to ancient times, if we want to talk about it, technically, we didn't even grow hair on our face. Dr. York said that himself. We didn't grow hair on our face. This beard and stuff we growing on our face is hair growing out of our face. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on, wait a minute, bro. This hair we growing out of our face now came from mixing in with the white man and all these other people. You look at the ancient Egyptians and all of them, they didn't have any facial hair. All that, when you see the hair hanging, those are fake beards they put on.
No, I heard Dr. York say that as well. No, I have to disagree with yourself and Dr. York on that, because naturally, if the black man's hair is naturally left to grow out, it's naturally going to knot up. You could look at the ancient Dravidians, some of the Buddhas you even have in Southeast Asia. I mean, naturally, before the invention of the comb, the black man's hair will naturally knot up anyway. and grow out. So I mean, this idea that somehow this is just a new phenomenon as a result of us mixing in with a European, etc. I'd have to disagree, because as original man and woman, our hair will naturally grow out and not up. That's just how
it grows. But also your hair breaks off at a certain point. When you see people with dreads and stuff like that, that's dead hair. That's dead matted hair that they're attaching onto. They keep attached to their head. That's dead hair. Our hair grows up to a certain point and it breaks off. Our hair is not supposed to grow down our backs.
Well, our hair does grow up.
No, it's not supposed
to.
Down our back. It's supposed to. Yeah, that's the same thing. Having your hair grow down your back and things like that is the same thing. You can allow your toenails to keep growing, but you don't, because you cut them, because that's supposed to be grooming. That borders on being unsanitary. You could do a lot of things. You could sit around naturally and get dirt all over your body, and you wash your body for what? You brush your teeth for what? You brush grit off your teeth. Your hair could grow all down your back and whatnot, but it's supposed to break off at a certain point. That's why you see the dreads, like I said, their hair is turning brown and matted, because they were supposed to cut their hair. That's grooming.
Well, I mean, like I said before, I think as far as the hair is concerned, I just don't think it's an issue.
Okay, well that's your personal opinion, brother. Brother, that's your personal opinion. You could wear long hair. That's up to you. We in the state of mentality.
No, I mean, personally, I don't actually grow big hair. I mean, I grow a little bit of an afro, but I don't. My hair doesn't actually grow that much. It grows up to a certain point and kind of stops. But that's how all people do. And like I said, people could do whatever they want to do. I'm not advocating that for every so-called black person. Like I said, this is just a clean, efficient look for us, because we're trying to be uniform, and we're trying to be clean cut and uniformed. Like I said, and actually, you're saying it's a remix of the Nation of Islam. The people in the Nation of Islam wear mustaches. We don't allow no facial hair. They wear mustaches in the Nation of Islam. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay.
All right. But listen, brother, I got to take other calls. Listen, brother, I can't be on. I got other calls to take. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. No problem.
All right. If I got more time, you can call back, brother. All right. All right. Take care, brother.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
No, that was him. Yeah. Okay. 248. This is going kind of slow. 248. It's moving kind of slow here. 248, you're on the air. 248. 248, you're on the air. Okay, I don't hear anything. I'm going to take 757. 757, you're on the air. Hold on. It's coming up. Hold on 1 second. It's moving. We're moving kind of slow. 757, you're on the air.
Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? Got a question for you. This brother Unc, God Killer. Question for you. What's your problem against being African? Now, I heard you make a whole lot of statements. Basically, it wasn't based off of facts, right? Last time I checked, Malachi York agreed that we was Africans. You know, that was his teaching, and he was saying we should go back to Africa. You know, because that's like the only place where there are untapped resources at. So why do you? So if you're not African, then what are you?
Hold on, let me answer that first of all. Hold on, I'm gonna answer you this right now. That's Dr. York's teachings. I'm not a follower of Dr. York. As far as Africa's untapped resources, last time I checked, the only people that's really tapping Africa's resources is the white man and the Asians. They're tapping Africa's resources. Hold on, let me finish.
I agree.
They're tapping it. Not even the Africans are tapping that resource. So how do so-called black people here in America go over there and think they're going to be tapping some resource? Reason why I said the reason why I said what I'm saying, you mentioned the untapped resources of Africa as if you're going to go there and get a piece of it. That's not going to happen. All right. Secondly, no, that ain't happening.
Hold on, brother.
They own Africa already. Hold on, let me say.
Go ahead. They own everywhere we at.
They own Africa. They built the technology over there. When you see the rail systems and stuff like that, the Indians, the white man, and the Asians built that over there. So Africa belongs to them, not to those people that live there. Okay, they just live there. Now let me finish. Why I say that we're not African?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the name Africa comes from the white man. Leo Scipio Africanus. He's the one. Hold on, let me finish. He's the one that conquered Hannibal, and when he conquered, the Roman general Scipio Africanus, white Roman general Scipio Africanus conquered Hannibal. The Romans named that region, which now known as Africa, after him, and the people who were over there, they called them Africans. Now, they did that as a filing system because they were taking that as a colony. They're the first ones who thought up the idea. The white man was the first one who thought up the idea he's the one that thought up the idea of putting people in sections and calling them continents. He's the one who came up with the idea of Asia, Europe, Africa. We didn't think like that. We went all over the planet, and we were everywhere on the planet. We didn't stay locked in one place. That was a filing system because they wanted to create. That was a filing system because they wanted to create sections for people.
Okay, hold on. Let me throw this at you. You kind of twisted that history a little bit. Let's go back. Let's deal with Leo the Younger. Let's deal with him for a minute. First of all, Leo the Younger, right? His father fought against Hannibal, and he was on the battlefield as his father fought Hannibal, and he observed Hannibal beating the shit out of his father. Okay, so as he grew up in this thing, being a Roman general, right, he took on a commission because nobody wanted to do it. He took on a commission to fight Hannibal. What he did was he employed some of Hannibal's fighting techniques, and he defeated Hannibal. If you study Roman history, whenever the Romans defeated their enemy, they took on the name of the enemy. Okay, so he took on the name of Hannibal the African, and they gave him the name Africanus because he defeated the Africans. That's why he got that name. Not the way you presented that. Hold on, bro. Wait a minute, brother. Hold on.
I'm listening, guys.
Not the way you presented that. I mean, you can find that in History for Idiots, the complete history of idiots for Rome. And I'm telling you, you can Google that any kind of way you want to do that. Whenever Rome defeated their enemies, they took on their name. Not the other way around, brother. You got that wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Okay. Well, I could prove that I'm right.
Just wanted to say
reason why I know I'm right is because did you see the documentary Hidden Colors?
I don't have to see the document.
Did you see the yes or no?
Make history. Come on, son.
Okay.
No, I don't have to see that. Go ahead.
No, because historians. Oh, wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. I'll let you talk. Did you see? If you've seen the documentary Hidden Colors, right? You have historians and people who put that documentary together, and they agree exactly with what I said about Scipio Africanus and how the name Africa came from Scipio Africanus. And also, what backs me up is what language is the word African from? Can you tell me that?
Say that again.
What language is the word African from? Yeah.
African is a corruption. Well, you know what I'm saying? European language, right? But it comes from the Afar. You can use the Afar tribe, okay? Or Afar, dealing with the Confederation. I can give you the whole breakdown of the word Africa if you want to. Or you can
what language is that?
Video entitled, what language is what language? What
language you said that but you just said that Africa is a degeneration.
Latin. The Africanus is a Latin word.
Okay, so if it's a Latin word,
hold on. But the etymology of it, hold on. The etymology of it takes you back to certain African tribes, and I can get that. I can go. Give me a second. I can get all the names you want in the language if you need that. That's very, very easy. That's right. It give me 2 seconds. I can give you the language if you want. If you want to get that technical. But the point I'm trying to make is you're right when hold on. But you're right when you say they applied the whole name right to a province. You're right about that, and they later on applied to the whole continent. I agree with you. So that was the Europeans doing, okay, to apply the whole name on the continent. I agree with you on that. But the reality of the situation is that it's still an African word coming from African languages.
But
okay?
Wait a minute.
Point.
You said the word Africa is a degenerated word from Latin, right?
Coming from an African language.
No. There is no. The word Africa.
Africanus.
Okay, but the word Africa, you said it's a generated word from the word afar. Did you not just say that?
I said Africanus.
Okay, African.
That's the Greek word for it.
Okay, but the word African came from the word.
That's
wait a minute.
The way an American would say it. Go ahead.
A white man would say African or Africanus. In other words, the word African. Hold on. In other words, the word African, as it is now, is a degenerated form from the word afar. Is that what you're saying to me?
And the word mental is the same thing. Hold on.
No, brother, you're not
answering
my question. We're not talking about
yes.
mental. No. Is that what you're saying? So,
yes.
okay, so if you're calling yourself, So if you're calling yourself an African, then you're calling yourself after that degenerated Latin term. And no, the word mental is not from the Latin. No, it is not.
What is the root of the word? What is the root of the word mental?
The word tel is an ancient Hebrew word, actually. It means hill or mountain.
Okay.
And the word men comes from the ancient Kemetic language, M-N or M-E-N or M-I-N, all right? That means eternal. Mm-hmm. So that's not from Latin.
So
it came through the Latin language, but it's not from Latin.
Well, okay. Well, guess what? So watch this. So we're both in the same place because the Hebrew language, right, is not a original African language.
And it goes back, and hold on, wait a minute. The word tell, and then the word tell. Wait a minute.
Let me finish my point. I'm saying that the same way you just did that is the same way I just did that. So we're really in the same place with this.
No, we're not.
Think about it.
Because the word tell, the word tell even goes back further into the word el.
Where?
Right, which goes into the Sumerian or the Babylonian. And the original Babylonians are our people.
Canaanite.
Right. Well, whatever that was our people.
Okay, listen.
So the word men and the word tell comes from our people.
Not mental.
Yes, it does.
No, you did the same thing but you did the same thing I just did.
I did not. I just proved to you that the word comes from our people.
Corruption of it.
I didn't use any American corruption of it.
You did.
I just showed. I traced it straight back as it is. Wait a minute. I traced it straight back. Brother, I traced it back straight as it is. Tell, men, you could trace those words. Those words were not changed. The word Africa, you just said it came from the Afar people, and then it was erupted in Latin to Africa.
Brother, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Give me the reference, right? You got Facebook or something? I want to see the etymology that you break down on that. Since you claim that, because I'm about to give you the etymology of the word African.
Brother, hold on.
Break it all the way back.
Brother, you just said, brother, I didn't, hold on. Again, we got other calls on the line, and I could take this like I said. You just said, hold on, no, I can't, hold on. Now, wait a minute. What did I open? Wait a minute. I opened up this show, right, and you said, right, that the word Africa, right, that wasn't the original word. Did you not say that?
And I said that it comes. You're right. And I said, but it comes from it is broken down from an African word. I mean,
but why are you gonna keep saying it's broken from an African word? But you keep saying it's broken from an African. Wait a minute.
I'm saying the root of it is African. Since I'm not speaking an African language, come on, bro.
But you just said the word African didn't come from our people. It was a degenerated word from the Latins and the white man.
I said that.
I
said was that Africanus. I said Africanus was the Latin corruption of an African word.
And who called the place Africa? Who called the place African?
Because the Romans spoke Latin.
They called the place Africa. They called the place Africa after Scipio. They didn't call it after. Hold on, wait a minute. They didn't call it after. Wait a minute, brother. They didn't call it after Afar or those people. They called it after Scipio.
They did.
Yeah, exactly. They called it after. Wait a minute. They called it after. Wait a minute, brother. They called it after Scipio in honor of him. They didn't call it. Wait a minute. They didn't call it in honor of any black people. They did it in honor of Scipio Africanus. You understand? And
no, they did it.
And black people. Wait a minute. And the whole idea of wait a minute, brother. Wait. Okay, but the whole idea is the idea of a continent and calling a group of people in a so-called continent, Africa, came from white people. Didn't come from us. That's all I'm saying.
The corruption. Hold on. Before you cut me off. Watch this. The word is Afura. Okay? Afura. All right? Okay.
Now you're gonna say it comes from
Egypt.
Egypt.
It literally means no. What I'm saying is Afura. You can find that in say give me Lake Chad region.
Okay, but are you calling yourself Afura? Are you calling yourself?
No. Hold on, listen to me. Hold on. Central East African society, right, in the Great Lake region, call the area Afura, which I know you didn't know. Right. You will find many
who called that area Afura?
Let me finish. You gotta let me finish. You will find many variants of the term, such as Afar, Afari, Zafari, or Afula or Afuraka or Afra. The name Afura, right, and its variants can be broken down as follows. The land, right, of the king, or the land of the sun, or the land of the gods. That is what this place is called in traditional African place. I'm telling you this. And guess why I know this? We wrote the book on, the book is called The ᴍᴘᴏ from North America. Research was done by Asar Hotep. He's on the Amaral squad. He put that together. So we're not even using.
Wait a minute. So
you're right when you say, hold on. So you're right when you say this African, right? That is like a European term taken from a Latin term, but it ends up taken from an African word. That's all I'm saying.
But you keep saying African, but which is okay, brother. All right. You keep saying African again. Our people didn't call that landmass African. You trying to link the word back? Yeah, you could find words. Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. I'll let you talk. You could find words in languages in assorted so-called quote-unquote African or tribal languages that are attributable or close to the word Africa. But the fact of the matter is, and I've been making this point, is that our people did not call that landmass Africa. We did not call ourselves Africans. That came from the white man. That's all I was addressing. That's it.
And I know. Wait, and guess what? I just gave you evidence to show you that people in Central Africa called that area that. That's what I'm. Some research.
The people in the Central Africa.
We got two, three linguists.
The people.
We got two, three linguists in the squad. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying.
And what's the name? And what was the name of their language?
What language? What are you talking about?
What was the name of the language of the people in the Central area that called it Africa?
You got Bantu languages. I get specific. Let's just go with the Bantu. Nilo-Saharian. That's in this family group. So there's two languages I just gave you, Bantu and Nilo-Saharian.
Okay, so what you telling me is that so what you telling me is okay. So let me get this straight, because I got to go in a minute, but let me get this straight. So what you're telling me is that the term Africa and calling the continent or that place was known as a continent, Africa, came from black people. That's what you're telling me.
I am telling you that
is that what you're saying? Yes or no, brother?
These tribes call that area Africa.
Okay, so they call it Africa.
That's what I'm
okay,
telling
so the black man called the continent Africa, not the white man, right? That's what you're telling me.
That the black man, I'm saying that Africans in Africa, that term is there.
No, I didn't ask you that. So you jumping around. I asked you, did black people? Hold on, brother. If you're not going to answer the question, I got to go, brother. Today, as Africa, what's called Africa today. What's called Africa today, because it's wasting my time right now. What's called Africa today, did black people call that continent in themselves? They come together all together and decide we Africans and we're gonna call ourselves Africans and we're gonna call this landmass Africa. Did black people do that? Are you telling me that right now? Yes or no?
Yes, in the Cushitic language, right here.
Cushitic language. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, I gotta go. Okay. I gotta go. Thank you. All right. Cushitic language. They got together and called it Africa.
Absolutely. Okay. I got the documents for you. Do you want the reference?
This is the problem.
This is the problem. No. Do you want the reference?
And now in Cushitic language, like I said.
You want the reference?
And what book? Do
you want the reference?
Yeah, I want the reference.
I got the book called The ᴍᴘᴏ of North America, Living Sons of Vitality. Get the book.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We did the research. Brother Assad did all the research. I can send you the paper where you can look at it. Bantu languages. I mean, come on, man.
They all got together and called themselves. They all got together.
This is done by I will give you documentation written by Africans because they do the research.
Okay.
And that word literally denotes. Watch this. That word literally denotes the League of Nations.
Okay.
The
all right,
fish
brother.
people. Right.
Okay.
Where Nama is the fish.
Okay.
Feel me?
All right, I got you,
I'm
brother.
not mad at your work you doing.
Okay, that's fine, brother.
Here.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's
Black
fine.
Even
all right, Black Power. All right, thank you. Next call. 510.
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, there's some pretty good calls. You know, it's pretty good calls. I just want to say, you know, the history is cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you what it did for me. History showed me who I wasn't. You know, and that's a beautiful thing. But history, what is it doing for you now? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna use the history to to build up on something, or are you going to live in it and argue about historical facts? I mean, the brothers are I understand exactly what they're saying and where they get their references from. That's fine, but there are other researchers that will refute what they say. You guys speak. I heard you guys speaking of Hannibal. There are historians that say that is a European creation. Mm-hmm. There are people that say that. So if he is or if it wasn't, what is it doing for us now?
Exactly.
You know?
That was
really,
my point.
To me.
My point to that was, like I said, you need to get with those people because, you know, people in this Pan-African thing, they tend to do this. They want to hide the fact. Same way the Israelites do. They'll make everybody Israelite or black throughout history. Leave it up to them. Bruce Lee's an Israelite. Chuck Norris, Beethoven, Tobin Bey. Come on with this nonsense, man. Black people, we got to stop that, man. Like I said, they know damn well the white man called Africa, Africa, and he called them people African. They know black people got together and called nothing no Africa. Yeah. They got to come on with that.
Even if it's true, it doesn't matter because what is it doing for you right now?
Exactly. It's doing nothing for our people.
Look at our people as a whole.
I just show where he talking about the resources of Africa and whatnot. I said the Africans, the so-called Africans, ain't getting none of them resources.
Yeah.
So what good is that? What good is moving back to Africa? What good is moving back to Africa and talking about sucking some resource? You ain't getting none of them resources.
And think about this, Nubin. Everywhere the white man goes, he names everything. You know, the pygmies. The original name for them was the Twa, but the white man named them pygmies. The white man names everywhere he conquers. He names everything there. Even in so-called America, he named everything here. He called the Indians. He called the Indians Indians.
Exactly.
And they weren't even. That's not even their name. So what I'm saying to say that is that the white man's history never changes. What he does never changes. You know what I'm saying? He goes. He conquers. He subdues. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he does, and he names everything. So of course, yes, he did that in so-called Africa. He did that. But again, I say, what does it matter? What is all that doing for our people right now?
Nothing.
This is the problem. We should. I'm not telling nobody what to do. You do what you want. But my thing is this: stop. I stop focusing on what I disagree with another brother more than what I agree with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just keep harping on the disagreements, especially if the brother, what he's saying has validity, like you. You're saying clean ourselves up, strip ourselves of all the things that were programmed into us. You know what I'm saying? Clean ourselves up. Let's come together and build something. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, like I said, a lot of people, they want to go. I said we mentalians, we're mentalists and we're mentalians. I said that's what we going with that. We in tune with Amen. We in tune with the future God and us and the future intelligence of ourselves as becoming future people. Now, if that's too much for people, that's fine. This is not for you. Don't worry about that. Go keep being African. We're not dealing with that. Why? I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why so-called black people want to get everybody under one umbrella. We're not getting under one umbrella under that African thing. Because y'all had that African thing and ain't nobody did a damn thing with it. The Africans ain't even doing a damn thing with it.
Africa is finished. It's over,
it's finished. Okay? Africa's done, man. Africa's finished. The only people that's reaping the benefits out of Africa is the damn white man, the Asian, all them other people. And the Chinese.
So, that's right.
And the Chinese. That's the only ones reaping the benefits out of Africa. So I don't want to hear no being proud of Africa nonsense. Like I said, and going over there and whatnot. All y'all gonna do is get over there and get a job. That's it.
Well, and Ruben, I'm willing to build with any brother that is not just following men, you know, and want to start or build something just on our own as a collective. Everybody working together. You know,
well, like I said,
I have nothing against that. You know, and if I'm in a movement like that, and I'm not even in the state of mental. Nubin, I want to say this too. You are not my focus. Mm-hmm. The intel or your message that you share You know, I got on it because it's things that were in my mind, things that I said before, and things that I thought a week before your broadcast you're saying. You know, so I mean that drew me to the intellect. That drew me to you because damn, what is that, a coincidence? No, it's not. No, it's not. There is something going on here. There is intelligence coming to this planet, and those who are in tune are receiving it. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, well, like I said, and it's going beyond that whole Africa thing. It's going beyond all that. Like I said, these people who want to be locked in Africa, I don't know why I spent so much time on that. If you want to be African, be African.
Yeah.
You know. I
mean, you spend time on it because you opened up tonight, and that's fine. That's fine. You know, because intelligent people did call. You know, they did focus on what they disagree with you, as opposed to what they agree with you. You know, and that should change because it's not important. I really would love if it's not you, any brother that wants to build, you know, and that wants to clean up our people, you know, and the true people, because even the guy that was talking about he was speaking on when you say that we're not African. I mean, to that brother, I know you still listen to the London guy. Yeah. If you go to Egypt, and a lot of you people have not been and still speak up on that land and the knowledge within that land, and you haven't been. But if you ever go there, you go to the Temple of Dozier, and you will see it on the walls. Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll see it. But beyond all that, can we go? Can I just say a few more words? And I'm out.
All right. I'm gonna open up the line. You got it, brother. Got it.
Okay. To Brother Shabazz. Number one, when I called you a clown, and this is truth. I didn't know that it was you, Chris. I didn't know that was you. There was this guy in your early broadcast that used to call and used to argue with this guy all the time, and I would hear him on other broadcasts. And that's who I thought that was that night, until you told me otherwise. But still in all, I just said, when I found out, I said nothing against you, Shabazz. You mentioned my name in your little broadcast, and I did hear that. I heard that video that the lady made. She mentioned me, but you guys are totally wrong about who I am. I really don't care what you think. I really don't. But you're totally wrong. You're totally wrong, period. And you can think what you want and say what you want. I'm not even going to be angry with you. Do whatever you want. But my focus is changing my environment and helping to change my true people. And that's it. Let's get it. Let's work. Let's get it.
Well, like I said. All right, let me go ahead and take another call. Thanks for calling, brother.
Sure. Peace.
All right. All right. We opening the phone lines up. I got 30-something minutes. Please, like I originally said, state what it is that you have and to help our people in the future. I didn't say come up here and give me a whole diatribe about Africa, and I took way too long on that because, like I said, people are going to make up their mind to do what they want to do and follow what they want to follow and believe what they want. I'm not interested in what you believe. You can believe whatever you want. You can accept. You ain't got to accept what I'm saying. It's not for you. Have a nice day. We ain't opening this up. The state of intelligence is an order. Right? It's an intelligence order for an elect few. We're not trying to open up for everybody. We're not a religion, and we're not opening up for other people's ideas. Y'all want to go be African? Go be African. So let me take another call. 817. Please keep it brief. 817.
Hi, Newman. This is Christina from Texas.
All right. How you doing, Christina?
I'm doing fine. I completely agree about the African thing. I think that's dead and gone. People need to move on. We in America, but I wanted to clear up something about a friend of mine, Chris. He's my friend, and I know you don't want that your show's not about this, but I think it needs to be stated that whenever he made a statement that he couldn't talk about what he, was mentioned about, he didn't want to get into it. A female contacted me and told me that she had came to, I guess, New York. That's where you had to see you, and that I guess whatever y'all did, you know, between y'all two, and that she felt threatened and that she was scared for her life and that you were going to post y'all's videos on her page and stuff if she told anybody. So I had told Chris about it, and so I just didn't want it to seem like Chris was lying, you know, because I'm the one that came to him and, you know, told him about it, and the girl contacted Chris and told him about it and was saying, you know, that you had talked about Chris and stuff. So that's where he got that perspective of, you know, to pull away. It wasn't because of some dream conversation.
That's what he called and said to me. He told me that he was mad because I talked about the dream, or what he told me about on the dream on the broadcast, and that's what he said originally. All that stuff about what he's talking about me and some woman. Like I said, my personal life is my personal life. What woman I'm with or what woman I'm dealing with, why is that any business of his? And why is he concerned about what I'm doing with my, you know, my sexual life? Why is he concerned with that? What does that have to do with anything? Do I go into your sexual life or his sexual life and find out? I don't care. Should that be the issue?
But no, see, I don't think that. I think that whenever, you know, like the situation had happened, I guess Chris had already, you know, had stopped, I guess, putting music on your show or whatever, and so he just at the time felt like, you know, you were attacking him for nothing. Then the situation with the female came up.
I didn't attack him for anything. I talked about, and I said this again, and I tried to put an end to this in the beginning. I talked about not just him, but other people had asked me to interpret dreams for them, and I was putting that all in one big pie. I didn't even name him or mention his name. Then he felt kind of salty about the fact that I mentioned our situation. I said, but I mentioned it in passing as a group of people who did that. It wasn't just him. He took it personal. And like I said, how can you take anything personal when I don't personally know you?
Right.
You understand? Like I said, I don't have time for this. I'm really putting in work here. And like I said, I'm teaching my people. I'm doing these radio broadcasts. I'm paying for this out of my own pocket. I don't have time for foolishness and people who want to sit up on YouTube and make videos about me and talk nonsense, don't know me from nowhere, don't know me, calling my number, calling me and making personal threats against me on block numbers and all kind of nonsense. It went beyond that. So that's a bunch of overreaction and nonsense. Or this other person sitting in here talking a bunch of nonsense. I'm like, come on with this. I don't have time.
Right.
I'm putting in real work and teaching my people. At the end of the day, nobody's challenging intellect. Nobody's saying they talking about this is a religion. They keep saying the same thing over and over again. Like I said, we're not taking everybody in the state of mental. We're not interested in what everybody else is saying. We're interested in moving forward with our people and what we teaching. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. Don't listen to the broadcast. Heber Payne and all these people. Why do you sit and listen to my broadcast? If I'm such an evil person, I'm a negative. I'm selling people poison water. Like I said, why are you listening to my broadcast? Why are you faithfully in my chat room? You faithfully in the chat room. You faithfully making videos about me because, like I said, I'm giving you people's lives purpose. You have no purpose other than to sit and talk about me. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not listening to your videos. I got somebody who tells me about y'all videos. I don't got time to sit on YouTube and listen to people's videos. That's what they do all day.
Personally,
you know,
I don't make videos,
life.
so that's not. I said personally, I don't make videos, but I'm just stating that, you know, because I think I like some of the stuff you say, you know, about we need to separate, and you know, I say it all the time. You know, we're not Africans. We need to, you know.
I say this to. Let me tell you something. I say this to all the people who claim that I'm wrong, because that seems like to be their only thing. I'm wrong. I'm telling lies. Then what are you advocating? Since I'm wrong, since I'm telling lies and all this other stuff, since Chris talking about I'm making up stuff, and yet he posted all my videos up. Obviously, he loved what I was teaching at one point, but since something changed, first it's some legal issue, then it's my sex life, and he worrying about going on in my business, worrying about what I'm doing. What changed if you posted all them videos? Now all of a sudden I'm copying from this person, that one. Like I said, I ain't got time for nonsense. People and their little hurt feelings. I ain't got time. You know.
Right.
I'm putting the work in. I ain't got time for that. Like I said, it's just funny. Like I said, Heber Truth. Like I said, you could go somewhere, have a nice day. You know, you ain't got nothing else better to do. She cursing people out in the chat room. Like I said, she's ignorant. Like I said, the people that would listen to their videos and who would even take you people seriously, we don't want in the state of mental. So how are we creating a religion if we exclusive? How is that a religion? Doesn't religion take everybody?
Pretty much.
Yeah, we don't take everybody in the state of mental. Don't believe that nonsense these fools talking about. We creating a new religion and we want everybody to find. And I'm creating a cult and all this other stuff. Like I said, they use classic terminologies from the white man, so they prove they following the white man. That's all. They reading his books. They reading Timothy Leary. They fascinated by the white man, and we not here in the state of mental. Like I said, we moved on. So. Like I said, we not sitting up here reading nobody books. We don't want Chris with us. Ain't nobody upset he left and not putting him in. I get anybody to put music on the radio broadcast. Next. Like I said, that's all he did was put up music. And like I said, he wanted to do more. He wanted to put up the YouTube pages and put videos behind my audios. And she was making, making videos. I just never heard nothing like this before. And I'm sure she took that video down. Like I said, he telling all his friends and whatnot. So what does that tell you? Obviously, you love what I was saying. But like I said, you know, don't love me. I'm going to tell people just like this. Don't love me. Don't hate me. Just receive what I'm trying to say logically. Open your mind to receive what I'm trying to say logically. If it don't agree with you, then have a nice day. You want to be in the sub-mental. Have a nice day. We're not dealing with you. We moving on. Okay?
All right, Noob. And I hope after this, you know, y'all can stop with the nigga nonsense.
Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like I said, I don't talk about it. In these last, if you heard my last broadcast, I didn't mention nobody. I didn't say anything. They came up here and put all this stuff up here, so I just set the record straight because I wanted to get that out there in the air and whatnot, and clear the air about certain things. They're gonna go in the State of Mentel's strictly for laughs section. So that's that. I'm giving them the attention they want, they crave. So I'm moving on. I don't deal with the nonsense. I do the work. So.
Alrighty.
I just took this night to do it. So it will be the final night I will do this, and I'll take this and do this. But I'm pretty sure a string of new videos will come up, and you know a whole bunch of other madness will come up. But like I said, we're gonna put it in the strictly for laughs section. But thank you for calling in, sister.
All right, bye.
All right. We're gonna take another call. 917. 917.
Nubian.
Yes.
Yes, this is David.
Hey, Dave. What's going on, Dave?
Going good, man. It's nice. It's always a pleasure to hear what you got to say. And, I mean, like I said before, to you and all that, I mean, I see a change in my life, and I don't live in the past. You understand? And, I mean, at the end of the day, these people live in the past. They can talk about all the things that's in Africa, like the brother said previous, that was on the line before. They can talk about Africa and all these things, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to change unless we come together as people. And when I say we, the intelligent people. Not niggas. Not niggas, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll always be niggas. But we, as intelligent people, come together and unite, we can achieve great things. So me, I see a change in my life. I'm more focused. I put up a psychic block. Like, I don't even pay attention to all the nonsense that goes on the TVs and the advertisement and the commercial. I don't know watch TV, tell you the truth. I mean, like, I honestly do see a change in my life, and it's for the better. I started eating healthy. I mean, I'm more focused. I mean, I'm achieving great things. It's like, and it's all thanks to you. And at the end of the day, I appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm going to continue to listen, and I'm going to continue to look for my brothers and sisters. So yes, I'm gonna put my work in.
Yeah, that's a true soldier in the state of mental. That's a true mentalist coming up. Thank you, brother. True soldier. That's what I do this for. The true people who are taking in and listening to and receiving the intelligence. They're not trying to love me. They're not trying to hate me. They're not trying to form some personal connection with me. They're not sitting around here telling me their dreams, want to be close to me. They want to receive this intelligence and work with the evolution of almond and this almond race. Those of you who are not interested in that, y'all have a nice day, man. Y'all a bunch of demons. We ain't got time to deal with no submentals. We ain't got time for that. I don't want to hear nobody come up here giving me no diatribe on Africa and Egypt and all this other stuff, and y'all ain't doing a damn thing to raise Africa and Egypt. Y'all just talking, man. We putting in work out here. That's it, man. We moving on.
Exactly. Me, every day, I'm not going to hold you too long, but me every day, like ever since I started listening to you and I started going to the meetings, every day I feel good about myself, knowing where I came from. And with the other races, the Caucasians, the Asians, the East Indians, I feel good. I mean, it's bad to say, but it's the truth. I feel good. And at the end of the day, I look forward to the future. And as my mental state changes, and it is constantly absorbing, especially the knowledge that you're teaching to me and you're enlightening me with. I mean, I do see a change movement, and hopefully everything goes well, and it will continue to get better, man. That's it.
Thank you for calling in, brother. Well, the people, like I said, the people that's gonna listen to the truth and absorbing it. Chris and Heber Truth was obviously two at one time. Then they decided to be demons. But like I said, the people that's going to sit up here and listen to the truth, that's who I'm out here for. I'm not interested in going back and forth with people. So I did that one last time. I also opened up this broadcast for people. I'm still waiting for the Moorish Science, the 5%, all these other people to come in here, because I was going to do that every Wednesday. I didn't mean for people to come in here and give me diatribes on Africa and things like that, because like I said, y'all not doing nothing for Africa. All that sound good. That's a bunch of pro-black nonsense. Y'all not doing nothing for Africa or moving forward to building anything in the name of Africa. I still see ignorance amongst our people, so.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yes, Negro, I mean, continue to do your thing. You have my support. I'm going to look for my brothers and sisters, like I said, and you have a wonderful night, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right, no problem.
All right. All right, let me take another call. We were asking people to come in with solutions. We didn't ask people to come in here with a diatribe of philosophy and rhetoric and whatnot, because as I said, state of mentality. Okay, we 111. 111?
Yeah, hello, is that me, Jay?
Okay. I spoke to you before, brother?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know you want to talk about solutions and new intelligence, etc., and that's cool. Mm-hmm. That's not an issue. I think the only issue is, I think when we're talking about new intelligence and when we're talking about solutions, we should be talking about the practical application of this new intelligence and the solutions. And I think, again, that's another issue I have with your organization in terms of the practical application of this new intelligence that you say you're receiving. If it's new intelligence, I don't see why I can't see the practical application of this new intelligence, because a lot of what you're doing is what has already kind of been done before. The concept of an organization. The concept of an organization, just to start, has already been done before. The Nation of Islam is out there.
Hold on. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing.
Okay.
When you structure anything, this society, this planet, you biologically are structured on an order. Are you not?
No,
yes or no?
I understand.
Okay, I'm explaining something to you. Yes or no? Okay,
yes,
everything, when you're talking about structure, order, government, society, that's timeless. You even have the Amen beings of the future race. They do the same thing. There's either order or disorder. Everything has to be in an order. Everything in this society, everything in its existence is based on a biological and a structural order. So, no, that is not a new or old thing. That's a timeless thing. You're getting it mixed up. I'm talking about the intelligence that's coming through about who we are not, who are we moving forward to becoming, right? And we are practically applying it. You hear the brother coming on the call talking about how he's practically applying it. These are people that's coming to my classes in New York. These are people who are joining the state of Mentel, and we are gradually growing. So, like I said, we establish. Hold on, let me finish. We're establishing small businesses, and we're cleaning ourselves up, and we're not going into a degenerate stage as the rest of the black race seems to be going today. The whole point is to move forward, to receive intelligence, to move forward, to produce a new generation of people, to produce a new people who are thinking on a higher level, so that we can start opening up mental capabilities more, or what we refer to as mentelic capabilities, to start receiving higher intelligence, so we can start bringing more things like technology onto the planet and eventually moving us beyond this.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, because what I'm doing down here in London is I'm getting a group of brothers together. I've got some in France at the moment as well, whereby we're actually trying to develop new technologies, new ways of interacting with one another economically. So as far as receiving this new intelligence, I would imagine it being receiving new kind of knowledge, which allows us to create new things that have not been seen on this plane before. So when you talk about starting businesses, I mean, that's something that's already been seen. When you talk about
that's not being done. Wait a minute. That's not being done amongst our people like that today. You're talking about receiving new technology. We just started this thing in motion. So this is the problem with our people. You see where America. Hold on, wait a minute. Because you're saying we're not doing anything. Wait a minute, brother. You're saying we're not doing anything new. I'm trying to answer you. You're saying we're not doing anything new. Yet, I must be a hell of a person for me to do 100+ broadcasts, and I'm teaching new things to my people, things that you're even questioning that you haven't heard before, things that are bringing our people together. Oh, wait a minute. Things that have people scratching their head, right, and saying, well, Nuben is saying this and Nuben is saying that. If you could link it back to anything, if you could link it back to you saying the Nation of Islam, I said that the intelligence of the Nation of Islam was like the growing ground, the breeding ground, the jumpstart our intelligence. They are the ancient or the older state of mental, because we were always going through a mental evolution. So we are a continuation, right? Not a regurgitation, but a continuation of groups like the Nation of Islam, like the Nuwapians and things like this. Is a continuing evolution. It's not about the group. Now, structure-wise, structure is a timeless thing. There's always going to be order. Now, the intelligence that's coming through the structure, that's new.
It's not new as far as the ideas you're putting out there, because the idea, the only thing new I've heard you say is the fact that you boldly come out and say that said that the black race is not from this planet. But however, you do then say the Africans were created on this planet, etc. But that's something that is new.
You don't know all of what I teach. You don't know all of what I teach.
I've heard all of them. I've heard all your
broadcasts. And you heard. Wait a minute, hold on. And you heard all of. Oh yeah, go ahead. You've heard all of the broadcasts. Now I'm pretty sure if you heard every last single broadcast I've done.
I've heard every single, because I actually got onto your thing from watching, because I'm subscribed to Chris's channel on YouTube, and that's how I started hearing your stuff. I just went back and listened to everything on your, and don't get it twisted. Look, the whole issue with you and Chris, that's between you two. That's not.
I don't have any issue with Chris. That I cleared the issue.
Oh, yeah,
I don't have any issue with Chris.
That's cool.
But, okay.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with me. So as far, but I'm just telling you that's how I got onto your whole thing, and I've listened to all of your broadcasts. You did one on homosexuality, which I thought was definitely new in terms of saying that there's something within the genetics, in terms of people being turned over and becoming homosexuals, etc. Even when they are abused, and some people not being abused and not going that way because there is something genetically within that person which kind of makes them kind of alleviate towards those kind of sexual tendencies. So that was something new as well.
Well, wait a minute. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Yeah. As far as anything else, it doesn't really sound new to me. Like I said, you've got a couple of new ideas, and I like what you're doing in terms of like bringing people together collectively. I've got to say that because I haven't mentioned that, and I do. That's why I listen to your broadcast, because I'm about what's real, and that's real to me. That you're trying to bring people together and trying to create your own state. That's real. So I've got to give you a lot of credit for that. So even if we may disagree on certain things and certain like what you're saying, and me not actually thinking it's new, and the practical application of things, and me not thinking that's necessarily new, I still agree with everything you're actually doing physically, because that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Well, again, if I stand on, because like I said, I talked about all throughout the page of us being mental receivers of higher intelligence and actually being referred to as Mentalians, taking on a new identity as Mentalians, taking on a new language of Mentalian language, talking and changing our names and whatnot, and receiving higher intelligence, bringing out the knowledge of pathmatics, right? All right, talking about the knowledge of pathmatics, talking about the knowledge of the intellectuals or the mentalopaths and whatnot. That's all new intelligence coming through right now.
Well, I mean, new intelligence that, I mean, how does that show up when it's practically applied, though? I mean,
it shows up in the opening or the entrance of new technology that's going to come, right? Because in order for you to receive the visions of new technology, your mind has to be opened up to receive future thought. In other words, for example, when people say, like, for example, do you acknowledge that there's something new beyond the sun?
Of course, there's no doubt about that. I mean, there's without doubt.
Okay, so if there's something new beyond the sun, and man is supposed to be the receiver, a woman's supposed to be the receiver of new things beyond the sun, then when it comes into you to receive that, and you're actually utilizing it and putting it on or bringing it onto the planet or bringing it into the world, then it becomes practical to the people, right?
Without doubt. But I
okay,
don't
so hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so
okay.
in order for you to be able to pull in those thoughts or pull in those frequencies or pull in those ideas, your mind has to be focused in the future state. Yes?
Agree. I'm not going to disagree on that.
Okay, we focusing into the future state, or what we call a mentalic reception, in order to bring in future thought and future intelligence. It's certain ideas that we started sharing amongst each other, certain things that small businesses we're bringing out, that we're growing into bigger businesses and things like that. So we're open receivers to things. That technology or whatever we're going to hold on, that technology or whatever we're going to bring.
The point I'm trying to make is,
the whole point is to open up as receivers and know that we are here as Mentalians for the purpose of reception. We're not here to be earthbound celestial people or calling ourselves African or black. We breaking away from that. That's new.
No, I mean that's not really new. The Moors breaking
tell me who's doing that.
For years.
Well, tell me who's doing that.
Let's be honest, they're trying to break away from Negro, black, and color for ages. So that's not really new. But the Moors, they don't call.
No, they're not.
Black.
That's not the same as what we're doing, because the word Moor means black, and they follow Islam. It's
just an issue of semantics. I understand.
No, it's not an issue of semantics. Don't do that. Wait, stop. Don't do that, because Moor means black.
You just said
and hold on, let me finish. And they follow Islam, and they follow all the and they whole doctrine is based on dealing with the government and laws. So no, we're not teaching Islam. We're not teaching any laws and dealing with any government. We're teaching mental reception here. So don't say it's the same.
Okay, it's not.
We're not identifying ourselves with a skin color. Wait a minute, we're not identifying ourselves with a skin color. Oh, wait a minute, you said it was the same.
No. I just want to move on, because I think that this
now
is
you
kind of
okay. Now you want to move on. Okay.
So
right. Listen, brother, I got to move on. I got to take another call, brother. All right, I got to take another call.
We don't have to get emotional about it.
No, I'm not getting emotional, but I'm not getting emotional, but you're saying things, and I'm showing you where we're not the same, because when you make statements like that, because it's like you're not really thinking about what you're saying.
You're right. I'm saying you're right. Look, I agree, because I just want to move on to what's important as far as, because you did say we're talking about solutions, and I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we don't need to get caught up in wordplay. That's not important.
No, it's not about wordplay, brother. It's not. It's solution-wise. Bringing the people together collectively under a new identity, under a new mindset, under a future way of thinking, that's the key to what we are saying. We're changing the minds, or opening the minds of the people and waking up those people, giving our people a new identity, letting our people know what our purpose here is to receive celestial or future thought. That's what we're teaching in the state of Mental. We're not teaching nationality. We're not teaching any treaties with the white man. We're not teaching Islam. So we're not calling ourselves, identifying ourselves by a color or anything like that. So that's where we're different.
I agree. Cool. That's cool. Not a problem. Now, as far as the practical application of these things, like I said, running a small business, I started my first business when I was 18. That to me is nothing new. I'm just saying, as far as receiving this higher form of intelligence, there are people who are not really using certain teachings in order to fathom new creeds.
They're not people
deal with many aspects of the teachings. I've got a friend right now who's developing something new in terms of how we're going to interact with one another economically, and he's not receiving, he's not using teachings or certain remedial practices in order to access this type of higher intelligence. So I see where you're coming from, but I just don't think the teachings are that important as it relates to the practical application of things. If we open our mind to higher intelligence,
the whole point of doing it collectively and coming together collectively is to strengthen the reception. We are practically applying it. You don't see, but we are. Huh? What did you say?
Where is the creation of this practical application? What is actually?
Where's the creation? We are living this out, and we are producing in the name of this intelligence. We living it out. We are actually living this. This is not no Facebook group. This is not a radio broadcast. People keep saying they members of the state of Mental. They follow. Y'all not following me. Y'all not members of the state of Mental. We are applying it practically. We just coming together. We're young in this. We are just coming together and we are building. Problem with our people is they want things to happen overnight. They don't want to be part of the solution, but they want things to happen overnight. They want to say, oh, well, how do you practice? We are practicing that.
No, I agree with what you said. No, but my friend, for example, he's in the other room sleeping right now. We are here working together. Practice right now. This is our way of life. This is what we're living to do. So I understand. I just think there are ways to go about it which would accelerate the whole process versus doing things in an old way, doing something old in a new way, which is what it kind of seems like to me. Okay, we're going to sell some books. We're going to get this organization meet up once every month. That to me is an old way of doing things. If we are in receipt of high intelligence, if we're receiving this, or if the opportunity is there, why not just take it now, grab it now? You know, we don't need to really wait on a whole bunch of people to come together and try and collectively receive information. If we know what we want to do, we know what we're trying to create, we can just open our minds up to the possibility of creating what it is we desire. We don't have to wait on things to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, my friend.
We're not waiting on it. We're not waiting on anything. We're not waiting on anything. We making things actively happen amongst us right now. If that's what your friends doing and y'all doing, I say more power to you. Like I said, you know, maybe you need to go open up your radio broadcast and pull in your brothers or keep your little collective going. I'm not knocking you for doing that. That's fine. But what we're doing in the state of Mintel, we're going in another direction. We're not going the road of black people. We're not going the road of the Moors or these other people. We're moving on. We are receiving intelligence by way of mental reception. We are moving and changing our minds and evolving and advancing our minds. That's the route we're taking. If those of you don't agree, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to agree. It's not for you. I'm not saying you, brother. It's not a shot at you, but I'm just saying in general. We are doing something new because I just proved we're not attaching ourselves to colors and continents and things like that. We're not attaching ourselves to that. We're not calling ourselves by that. The minute you open up the reception to the first thing, which is paramount, which is your identification, that means that your thoughts will become grander. The intelligence you receive will become greater. Because you just opened up. Like, for example, if I'm calling myself an African or calling myself this or calling myself that, that's a limitation on my thoughts. You never see the white man calling himself a European this or a European that. Like I said, he's a worldly person, and that's what we used to be. We were worldly people. We didn't know boundaries and things like that until we start calling ourselves, we allowing people to call us African and black and putting us in hog pens and calling us this section and so forth. No, we are world-thinking people. We are mentalists, and we are about the future reception and the evolution of our people, and that's it.
Cool. No, it's good. I mean, like I said, I just want to, I do need to put emphasis on the fact that I do definitely respect you trying to get people to come together as a collective and whatnot. I'm obviously disappointed by what has actually transpired, because it's just, you know, seeing this, it's like it happens over and over again with so-called black organizations, and it's disappointing.
It's saying a black organization. That's not a black organization. This is the intelligence group. This is a bright group. And as far as anything happening, I don't close the chapter on that. Don't worry about that. The people, like I said, the people that's going to listen to this nonsense from the demented ones, like I said, that's for you. Y'all go and teach them, and y'all go and make YouTube videos and keep talking about me, because all you're doing is making me more popular. Y'all keep doing that. But brother, thank you for calling. I gotta try and take at least one more call because we got 3 minutes left. Thank you, Cole.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Last call, 757. You're on the air.
Dang, man, ain't got enough time to even get my thoughts out. So I'm sitting there waiting.
I know. I'm
sorry. Man, brother went in a little long. But I'm going to say this real quick. You know, I don't normally try to be too long. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you ain't got the questions at the end. But I'm just trying to throw my thoughts together real quick. What I'm looking at, one thing is the people that's coming at you and the sidewaysness and so forth like that. I attribute that to the fact that you made yourself public. You know, I deal with trust law pretty much. I appreciate the you actually being public so that we can interact. I deal with trust law, which means that I used to do talk shows and things like that. Then out of the frustration,
pulled back and started doing a lot of things privately, you know what I'm saying, and I only deal with people that come about, you know what I'm saying, not publicly. It has to be through somebody or so forth, and still try to be progressive in that manner, and I see that, you know, since you have brought forth, you know, intelligence, so forth, people, they end up stepping in the way of focus. The second thing is just looking at, you know, outside of the intelligence, is I deal also with psychology, and that's why I said that, is because now you got to start looking at how our people and how they can easily come in and get off focus, and we always talk about that they're not focused, and then they're trying to bring something down when they're really not part of it. So I kind of start dealing with psychology along with intelligence, you know what I'm saying, and that's one reason why I had kind of pulled back out of the public, you know what I'm saying, because you're doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
And the demons, Heba Payne, the Black Caucasian, and Chris Problem Child, and all these other people, they doing what they supposed to do. And this is what they do. I gave their life some meaning. So you know what? Y'all go on, party on, do what you do, make some more Facebook videos or YouTube or whatever the hell you doing. I'm not on YouTube like that. I got business to do. So. Yeah, like I said, we're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to keep raising the souls and intelligence of our people. And like I said, it's disappointing because I was expecting the so-called 5%ers, the Black Panthers, everybody to call in and state what they could do to help our people. Now we at the end of the broadcast, and I said, I can't wasting time listening to African rhetoric and stuff like that. You people could do what you want with your rhetorical African talk, like I said. How is it helping our people in the future? We raising the minds of our people. And though we young and we started out, we're a New Millennium organization, I've been called everything from a Masonic agent to everything else. Don't know me making personal attacks. But like I said, we might do this again next Wednesday. I'm going to open it up again for the people that come with their doctrines and their teachings and whatnot and tell what you're practically doing for our people. I'm going to make a point of opening up Wednesdays for that.
All right, no doubt, bro. I'll be in tune for that. All right, peace.
All right, we got 10 seconds to go, so we're just going to close out how it is. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz. This has been State of Mental Radio. Good night.
It's the Republic of Mental, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mental, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we